What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Mikerock Uncensored. Thank you guys for being here. And first, I'm sorry that we didn't get started at 10 a.m. like I had planned. Again, I want to be able to get my ass out of bed in the morning at 10 a.m. and have these discussions with you guys and just sit back, talk about whatever's on our mind, and just kind of get the community going and growing. But I still got some things in my personal life that we're ironing out. I got some training and stuff coming up with my new trucking job that we're getting started with. And then on top of that, on top of everything else that we're doing, I am trying to get the equipment that I need so that no matter where I'm at, whether I am trucking or whether I am in my home studio, I can be here with you guys and we can have these conversations, which I think more than anything, especially right now in the climate and the political and personal environment and climates that we're in, I really believe that we need to be having these discussions more, not less, because there is a lot of crazy going on in the world, and we're going to touch on that in a little bit. I just like I said, at the end of the day, we need more people like me, like myself, who basically have no political, who aren't being influenced by political parties, who don't really have the largest audience in the world, but is willing to put our voices out there to let you know that you're not the only one that feels something is different, something is crazy, and that your instincts are actually better than the mainstream public wants you to believe. Because there's a lot of things going on behind closed doors, but all we ever see, the only information we ever get is what's going on in what the mainstream media wants us to believe. And even with social media, we're starting to find out, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but over on X, they just introduced a feature where you can literally see where people have either originated their accounts, created their accounts, and where they're streaming or conducting, putting up posts and stuff from. And now we're starting to find out that a lot of the, which we kind of already knew, but we're starting to be able to prove that a lot of these Democrat accounts and Republican accounts that are out there are actually bots, people who have been posting about America and what we just should think and how we should believe from different places in the world. And a lot of them are coming from like Nigeria, India, and then a few other countries that, like I said, there's no reason in the world why they should be saying that they're American, that this is an American account, that they support Trump, that they've done all these things that they haven't done other than to just influence our behavior, influence what we think, and try to make us believe some things that go against our own instincts. It's important, again, very important that people like me and people like you aren't afraid to share our opinions because if we hide behind the information we know that's available out there, or if we hide behind what the media is trying to tell us what to do and what to think, then we really can't complain when the shit hits the fan or our country goes to ruin because weren't willing to voice our opinions about a few things. Which brings me to, before we get started, you guys can kind of see the advertisements on the sign. We're going to be streaming live on Rumble every morning, every Sunday at 10 a.m. at least. I get bored right now, and I have a tendency to go live when I probably shouldn't because our videos are doing a good enough job on our platforms like YouTube and Facebook and even X. But I get bored, and I love talking to you guys. I love getting on when I get emotional about a certain thing. I get online and I want to show you guys. I want to share that with you guys, and I have a tendency to do that. But we're going to try to make it so that we are at least live every Sunday on Rumble, on YouTube, on X, and over on Facebook at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Also, we have our own shop now. It isn't just a shop, it's an actual community where you guys get updates on what's going on with me personally. Because when I start putting up posts or when we start growing as a community, I never want anybody to ever be able to say that he's just crazy or he's not genuine in what he believes. If you join the community, I'm going to be putting up a lot of personal information about myself. I'm literally sharing my world with you because I don't want you guys to ever believe that I am something that I am not, that I am politically bought, or that my information is coming from somewhere other than my own opinions. I am who I am. I want you to be who you are. And if you join our community, you can not only get access to personal updates in my life, but you get access to our shop as well. You can see right now I've got the America Party t-shirts available, and it isn't, I am not, to be clear, I am not necessarily trying to create a whole new party. I don't have the resources, financially or personally, be able to do that. What I am trying to sell is a movement. What I am trying to get people to understand is that whatever the decisions that we make, the opinions that we share, it is about the people. It is about us, this country here in America. We need to stop allowing the government, the media, these woke and extreme right agendas to influence what we think, how we feel, and definitely how we vote. If you guys want to be a part of that movement, you guys can get yourself an America Party T-shirt that basically just symbolizes that no matter what else is going on in the world, whether you're left leaning or right leaning, that we believe in America first here at Mike Rock Uncensored, and hopefully in your personal lives as well. So, with that being said, man, um, I was reading something. I wanted to talk about some people on X that I find to be very crazy, and I truly believe that the right, in my opinion, MAGA to be the MAGA cult members, to be more specific, I truly believe that they are becoming this. They are becoming the same people that we voted against when we put Trump into office, and I'm talking about these extremists. And a lot of these extremists on the left, just to be fair, or to be honest with you, I voted. I didn't necessarily vote for Trump as much as I did vote against what I was seeing in the Democratic Party. It was beyond fatigue. It was the woke agendas that were being forced into our personal lives. It's me personally, I believe you can be whatever you want to be. You want to be gay, you want to be trans, you want to identify as black and you're not black. That's none of my business. I don't care. I support your decision to be you, but that doesn't mean that I have to support that movement in every day of in every aspect of my personal life. If I don't believe in it, or if I don't, there's other things that I've got going on in my life that I need to spend my time and my attention on. I don't need to necessarily support your movement out loud, or you shouldn't be able to force me to use things like pronouns in my personal life if my faith or just my personal opinion doesn't agree with that. And then and and just so that we can continue to protect that minority class, or whatever the case may be. For me, equality means equality for all, not equality for some. We shouldn't be stepping on the faiths, beliefs, and opinions of others just because we don't share those, and then allow our governments to pick and choose which minority class, which woke agenda, which whatever it is takes precedence over the lives of everybody else. I don't believe in that, and it was that my conviction in that policy, or in that direction, in that information, that forced me to vote the direction that I voted in. I voted for Trump not so that I could be a part of the MAGA cult movement. I voted for Trump because I didn't agree with what was going on with the Democratic Party and these woke policies in my personal life. That's why we vote. We vote for what's good for the country, but we also vote for what's good in our personal lives at the same time and where we can. And that's what I did. However, I'm looking at some things that are going on nowadays, and I'm seeing the right has literally become the left. It's different issues, it's different agendas, but to me, they're just as woke as what we saw from the left. Now, all of a sudden, anything you say that speaks out against the government of Israel, for instance, is anti-Semitic. Any kind of crime, anything we want to address as being wrong within the Jewish community is anti-Semitic, and it, what's crazy to me is I grew up in an environment where, there were derogatory terms used towards black people. We all know what the N word, with or without the hard R. We've had the C word that was used to get with against white people all the time. You got the B word, bean something. We're not going to go into specifics that were used against the Mexican communities. We heard all of these things growing up, and to me, it was crazy. We're talking about crazy today. It was crazy that all of a sudden we're forced to believe that people in our communities have been talking bad or sharing the same derogatory terms towards the Jewish community as we have been against all of these other cultures and ethnic races and things like that. And for the life of me, I'm 51 years old. I don't remember any of that. Every now and then you would hear somebody say something about a Jew fro or something stupid, or it's something that just it was meant to have fun. It wasn't meant down to put down a whole race of people and everything else. I just don't remember any of those derogatory feelings towards the Jewish community the way I have seen against every other community except them. I have never seen it. But when you say it out loud, you got all of these people saying, no, it existed. You have to be crazy because you're not subscribing to the narrative. We said that they've been persecuted here in this country. I'm not talking about the Holocaust. I'm just saying here in this country, you want us to believe that because you're telling me that they have been persecuted for all these years, that it just has to be true. And we need more, but let me know. Does anybody listening to this podcast, even either right now or later on, do you ever remember the Jewish communities being persecuted as hard as other communities, the black community, the white community, the Mexican community? Because I have never seen it, not the way that they want us to believe. But because I'm willing to say that out loud, if my community was large enough, they would actually say that I'm crazy too, because I'm willing to speak out and say, I've never seen it. Never. But all of a sudden, because people are starting to point out some of what they believe are atrocities committed by our Israeli government, that there's some things coming out in the open that could insinuate. And I'm trying to be very careful with my words so that my platform doesn't get I'm not even monetized, but there's no point in having a platform if nobody is able to see the platform. So I'm just trying to be careful. I'm going to say what I need to say without being so far out there with the information, true or not, that they have a reason to just take me off the air or remove my channel. So, but when there's real information out there, there's receipts to suggest that something is wrong with anybody in the Israeli government or within the Jewish community. Not the Jewish community, but someone, an individual within that happens to be Jewish or within that community. All of a sudden, it's anti-Semitic, and we're not allowed to speak on that. It's crazy. It's crazy to believe that I actually wanna live in a country that has a government that puts its people first, America first. Now, and this is and, again, we're on the topic of crazy today. It's crazy to me that I use the word America first, that you wanna say that I'm suggesting that we are America only. I don't believe in America only. I do believe in America first. If we've got after we've taken care of our own, if we've got if we're as blessed as our government wants us to believe, then whatever's left over, whatever blessings we have left over, then yes, we should be able to share with the rest of the world to let them know we are here for you. But we shouldn't even be thinking about doing things like that until we can take care of our own. Do we have systems set up to help take care of our homeless? Do we have systems set up to take care of the veterans who have served our country? Do we have systems set up to help people get out there, encourage them to get jobs? Not just not just not give them something like EBT and then force them to quit cold turkey when it was the government's fault for why they had EBT and the way they had EBT in the first place. We need systems set up to wean people into different directions, not not put their lives in a state of desperation because you give them something one day and then you take it away the next. I don't agree with what's going on in certain regards to the Trump administration right now. I don't agree with anything that doesn't have some form of logic or common sense to back it up. I said that about the left. I said that about these woke agendas. I lost some friends and family members because I spoke on what's true. But they mistakenly believed that I was speaking up because I was just so pro Trump that you couldn't tell me any differently, that I wasn't looking at right versus wrong versus right versus left. To kind of move over, so you guys kind of get where I'm at with this whole crazy scenario. The people need to start looking at things more logically. They need to start thinking for themselves. They need to turn to each other and say, despite the information that is being given to them by our government and mainstream media, they should be able to look at each other and say, you know what, that just doesn't sound right. Does it sound right to you? Because it doesn't sound right to me. And we need to figure out why. Just stop letting the government lie to us day after day, and then when we found out that they lied, we're just willing to forgive and forget like nothing ever happened. That like they never stole hundreds of billions of dollars of taxpayer money, our money, whether you choose to see it that way or not. We're just willing to forgive and forget. Why? Because they support our agenda, because they claim to support, because we wear rainbow flags across our chests, or because we want to say it's okay for men to go into women's bathroom, because we're willing to say that out loud, we're giving the government what they want in exchange there, so they're going to support that, and that's why we need to vote in that direction. Never mean that it's not good for the people as a whole. And that's what we need to be fighting for more than anything else. What's good for the people as a whole? Because when we can do that, then we can start talking about stop being so selfish and start talking about what's good for us in our personal lives. But it won't even matter what's good for you in your personal life if this country isn't being ran properly as a whole. I don't wanna keep harping on that, man. I will I'm going to harp on it over time, but we need to start giving you guys real life examples of what crazy is here in this country. I got I just saw something today. I saw it yesterday, but, um, I had a chance to read it, and a lot of people don't like, Candace Owens. A lot of people feel like when Candace Owens, and this is the reason why I love Candace Owens, because when man, I'm looking really small in my let me see if I can't I'll do that later. I just look really small on my camera right now. But when Candace Owens was saying things that fit the narrative of our government, whether it was right, well, it was never left, but when she was saying things in that supported the narrative of our right, our MAGA cult members, the Trump administration, everybody was like, she's a genius. She's so well spoken. Candace brings receipts. She's very investigated. There was a lot of positive things to say about Candace Owens. But there came a point in time where her investigations led her to believe that something wasn't right on our side as well, on the right side, the conservative movement, whatever you want to call it. She saw something wrong and because she was willing to speak out against it, excuse me, all of a sudden she's crazy. All of a sudden nothing she says makes sense. And excuse me, I'm sorry I talk so much. I get so excited about things that um I I get this little cough from it, which is why I've got coffee to make it worse, maybe. But anyways, they want to speak out against Candace Owens like she's all of a sudden become an enemy of the government. Candace Owens, to me, is probably the most real person and advocate for the people. It's something the government when the government and mainstream media decides that they don't want you to listen to a particular person, that's all the more reason why you need to listen to them more. And just to prove, just to give you a reason why you should want to listen to someone like a Candace Owens more, it's the same reason why I ended up going from being a Democrat to a conservative, 'cause I did claim to be Republican at one point, but I'm willing to say that I'm more conservative, especially in my ideals. But the way that the right is going, they're showing me that they're not any different. I believe I'm starting to believe more and more that we live in a uniparty system as opposed to a right versus left government, because at the end of the day, we could talk about Epstein all day and why those files haven't been released. And even though they voted to go ahead and release all the files, now they're just trying to find reasons to delay the process. And so, like I said, everything that they ever do, from not censoring Stacey Plaskett, to, it's a lot going on. There's a lot of reasons to believe that we live in a uniparty system. But going back to Candace Owens, she's speaking out against what's going on, and not just here in America. She'll speak out against the black community. She'll speak out against the right government, the left government. She's speaking out against French. She believes that the Macron, the wife of the President Macron, is a man, and but the difference is she's bringing receipts. When I decided to vote for the right, when I listened to the arguments that were being made, all I saw from the left was them attacking the character of the people who were bringing receipts. They couldn't defend the argument. They couldn't debate the argument. They had no truth or facts or science or logic to support anything they were saying. So they resorted to attacking the character. If we can make the person look bad, we can convince the communities, the people, not to listen to them at all. But I keep telling, we need to hammer this home no matter how long this takes. Who cares where the information came from? If what they're saying is truth, then the truth doesn't change no matter what the source is. But somehow we've grown up in this society. We've raised a society that believes that for whatever reason, that if we can attack a person's character and make them look bad, then whatever information they had is no longer credible. It's no longer valid. But it only takes a little bit of research to understand that this may be a horrible person, but the information is true. And that's what made me go from left to right. Is the right was bringing receipts. The Democrats had no receipts, and to this day, they still have little receipts, very few receipts to prove anything that they say. There's no science to back up a lot of their woke agendas. The Democrats don't have receipts to prove that anything they've done, or the people that they've attacked, that the information that they have is untrue. They just can't debate the facts because they're so far gone and so far on the side of wrong, period. And that's the reason why I voted right. And now we're over here on the right side. And I'm starting, now that they're in power, all of a sudden they're doing the exact same thing. All of a sudden, you got Candace Owens, who is still bringing receipts. But because her receipts actually speak out against what's going on the right, all they can do is label her as crazy, as she's just she nobody should listen to her, but all they can say is that she's crazy. They can't debate the facts. Nobody is bringing the receipts. And then you got people sellouts. And I keep bringing up the same name because I'm hoping that he understands that people are calling him a sellout for a reason, because he used to speak on the side of truth, but all of a sudden, this black individual, Officer Tatum, if you don't know who he is, you should check him out. He is so pro-Israel, and I'm not going to accuse him of being paid with money. But I've noticed that his podcast has made a lot of improvements and that his audience has grown ever since he's become so pro-Israel. You can't say anything to this man against the government against the Israeli government for him to speak out and turn around and say, well, that's wrong. And when you're that far gone in the things that you say, protecting a movement or a government that doesn't even belong to you, when you're not even willing to say that they're wrong about anything that they've done or that they've been doing, or at the very least that the evidence strongly suggests that this other person might just be right, something is wrong with you, bro. Something is horribly wrong with you. And I truly believe when it comes to anything that's not pro-Israel, you make some sense in the things that you say. But because of your stance that you just truly be dude, we can admit that there are things wrong in our own government. How come you can't admit that there's something that can be perceived, that there's evidence to strongly suggest that there's something wrong with this government over here, unless somehow you've been bought, period. We're human. We make mistakes. Nobody is 100% right 100% of the time. And when you speak out against people who are pointing out those wrongs, instead of allowing us to have a conversation to decide whether this is actually right or wrong, you've sold out. Literally sold out. Done. Gone. Out of your rabbit ass mind. He's not the only one. Laura Looney Loomer. She's so far gone, it's ridiculous. And then I find out that she had legitimate mental health issues before she decided to become an ex post influencer or what. I guess she has a podcast now. But this whole situation with, and I'll get to Candace Owens. I'm getting back to Candace Owens. This is the problem with me. Sometimes I need to be a little bit more focused in my conversation, but I am very passionate about the things that I speak on. I want you to know that it's coming from the dome, it's coming from the heart in the things that I say. And I haven't been influenced to tell you guys anything except what I feel or the opinions that I have, whether they're right or wrong. I'm open to being wrong about just about everything. But Laura Looney Loomer is speaking out against MTG, and she's even retired now. But the minute that MTG spoke out against something that Trump did, against the Epstein files, and Trump decided to call her a traitor as a result, Trump was wrong for that. But Laura Looney Loomer decides, well, you know what? Instead of showing that Trump may be human, that he may be wrong about a particular thing, I'm going to go on a smear campaign of Marjorie Taylor Greene, even though Marjorie Taylor Greene, right or wrong, appears to be more on the agenda of America first than even Trump himself. Trump campaigned on the promise of giving us the Epstein files and then just magically becomes president. Now, I'm not saying he magically became president, but after he became president, magically and instantly changed his mind on sharing the Epstein files with the rest of the public. Do you think that that was because of Trump, or do you think there was some kind of other influence that caused him to reverse course? And then all of a sudden, when just after he calls her a traitor, the very next day he decides, let's reverse course again. The very same reason why I called her a traitor for standing out against me, I'm gonna go ahead and agree with, but she's still a traitor. There's something wrong with that, but you can't admit that because you're part of this MAGA cult movement. You can't admit that something's wrong. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. There's nothing wrong with correcting our president when he is not on the side of right. That's what makes us better. That's what makes us stronger. Candace Owens does that. Candace Owens, whether you like her or not, she tries to bring receipts to every party that she's hosting. And now all of a sudden we find out that there's some kind of assassination attempt being made on her life. She says 2 days ago, I was contacted by a high ranking employee of the French government. After determining this person's position and proximity to the French couple, I have deemed the information they gave me to be credible enough to share publicly in the event that something happens. In short, this person claims that the Macrons have executed upon and paid for my assassination. Yes, you read that correctly. More specifically, that the green light was given to a small team in National, I can't even say that, Gendarmerie Intervention Group. I am told there is one Israeli that is on this assassination squad and that the plans were formalized. Again, this person provided concrete proof that they are well placed within the French government apparatus. Further to this point, this person claims that Charlie Kirk's assassin trained with the French Legion 13th Brigade with multiple state involvement. Journalist Xavier Poussard's life is also at risk. This is deadly serious. The head of state of France apparently wants us both dead and has authorized professional units to carry this out. I ask that every person retweet and share this. I do not know who in the American government can be trusted since this source claims our leaders are aware. But I have more specific information, which I definitely definitively verifiable should they carry to excuse me, I'm sorry, let me reread that. But I have more specific information which is definitively verifiable should they care to reach out to me. To the brave official in France who did this because they were so moved by the evil of Charlie's public execution to risk their own life, may God bless you truly. Now, I haven't even looked, but I'm willing to bet that these same accounts, like Laura Looney Loomer, who else? Cat Turd. Don't you check out these accounts for yourself. Cat Turd and a few others are, instead of saying, "Hey, something's seriously wrong. Is this true? This needs to be investigated." If we've got a foreign government putting an assassination attempt out on an American citizen, again, to me, that's an act of war. It could be considered an act of war, could it not? But you're saying that she has credible evidence to not only prove that there is an assassination attempt on her life, but that our government is already aware of it and is doing absolutely nothing. That the response to her message is to just to call her crazy. That's the response. Let's just call her crazy. There's no way that this can be true. And the reason why they want you to believe that Candace Owens is crazy about every last thing that she says is because they can't debate the facts. They can't prove that she's wrong about the information that she's sharing because she's bringing receipts. She's bringing enough receipts that there should at least be an investigation into the truth of the matter or not. Instead, they can't do that because they know the more involved they get, the more information we'll have and will more than likely prove everything that Candace Owens is saying is true. You don't have to agree with her perspective on the information that is shared, but there are facts that she is sharing, and you can draw your own conclusions based on that information. But they won't share that with you because they know you're going to start to be educated on what's really going on in life and start to form your own opinions. Again, the biggest weapon we have in America is the weapon we don't use, and that's the ability to think for ourselves more than anything else. You got people like a Candace Owens, like a Tucker Carlson. And in foreign countries, you guys may not know who this person is, but let me find him. Something Prasad. Forgot what is it. Blah 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 blah. Xavier Prasad. He's if you guys don't know the situation with Candace Owens and Xavier Prasad, it has to do with the fact that Candace Owens has given receipts to prove that Bridget Macron is a man. Now, what we know for sure is that the Macrons, President Macron and his wife, have filed a lawsuit here in America against Candace Owens. They've tried to do a lot of similar things to Xavier Poussard, but again, the evidence that they have is so strong that the courts don't want to touch it. The courts in the courts in France, I guess there was an appeal that was made, and Xavier Poussard's and his team, they won the appeal. So, and which a lot of people believe that that's evidence that Bridget Macron may just be a man. And I don't have an opinion on. I do have an opinion. That's a lie on what I think, but I'm just dealing with the facts right now. And Candace Owens has brought enough receipts. She did a 6 to 7 part episode podcast on all the evidence she has to prove that Bridget Macron is actually a man. So why aren't we listening? Why is it easier to assume that Candace Owens is crazy than to just read the evidence and make up our own minds about whether she's telling the truth or not? Nobody I ever hear speak out against Candace Owens is speaking out against the facts. They can only call her crazy. That's it. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on absolutely everywhere. You have whenever you hear our government or mainstream media attack the credibility of a person, that means that they can't attack the credibility of the information that they're providing more often than not. You should want to ask your as a people, you should want to ask yourself, is what they're saying true? You should ask yourself, Why are they attacking the person? If the lie is a lie, why are they not attacking the facts, the information that was provided? And if she has receipts to prove that this is real, why can't you provide the receipts to prove that it's not? Why do you if you really want to prove that she's crazy, debate the facts that she's providing you, not her opinions. She's giving you facts. She's giving you eyewitness testimony on a lot of this information. She's pointing out this thing about the Egyptian plane thing. I'll admit, some of it sounds a little far fetched. But when she brings the receipts to prove what she's saying, it demands an audience. How do you explain all of these something I've only watched part of it, but something about these planes being in the exact same vicinity at the exact same time as both Charlie Kirk and his wife, and with the evidence that she found, it led her to a different conclusion. That yeah, they were there with Charlie Kirk, but they were there more often than not with his wife. So it led her to believe that they weren't really following Charlie, they were following the wife. But that's what investigations do. You follow a path and it might lead you into a different direction, which is probably worse than the direction you were on, but you allow the evidence to do its job. You don't turn around and attack a person and say that they're crazy because what they're saying doesn't fit the narrative that you want to sell. I keep repeating myself a little bit, and I'm sorry for that. But at the end, but what I'm trying to get across to you guys is that our government, both left and right, not only are they lying to us about just about everything, but they're not serving this country. They are only serving themselves and their own best interest. And I do believe for anybody that thinks that I've just become a Trump hater because I'm willing to openly call his followers the MAGA cult movement. They have become, if they weren't a cult in the beginning, they have literally become a cult right now. And instead of debating the things that I'm saying, they'll probably listen to this podcast and tell you that I'm out of my rabbit ass mind too. But the difference between me and other people like Candace Owens is I'm not making money off of this video. I don't have the type of audience that's going to influence me to say things a certain way just to make sure I keep that audience. I'm not I this My podcast isn't built like that, and I'm just hoping that over time people will see because I started out this way and because my conversation doesn't change that they can trust the information that they receive. They can trust my opinions not necessarily to be true, because they should do the homework themselves, but at least it's genuine. My intentions are good. I only want what's best for the people in this country. I truly believe that everybody that the government is calling crazy right now, we need to listen to what they're saying more because they are bringing receipts. They know the real corruption, the real evil right now is our government, and then it trickles down from there. The influencers that they pay, the mainstream media that they pay, these people are bought and paid for. And the sad truth is they're being bought and paid for with our own money. We're paying for the delusions that we see. We're paying for the corruption that is going on in our own government. We're we're paying for all of it. We're paying for these foreign governments that are attacking other governments that have nothing to do with us, and we can't do things simply like provide affordable health care, can't take care of our veterans. We can't do a lot because we're too busy giving all of our hard-earned paychecks to other people. Anyways, man, I wanna know what you guys think, man. Like I said, I don't think I've said anything that was so controversial that you wanna start calling me crazy too. I want people to open up their eyes. We're gonna have a conversation soon about what I'm hoping we can do within the Black communities to get them to start supporting themselves. You know, and uh, before you ask questions. Yes, I have my black card. I grew up in the black community. I'm part, yes, I'm part black. I was raised that way. I do, even though it sounds like I speak out against the black community, and I do on a lot of different topics, but I'm speaking out because I want what's best for them. I want them to start fighting for something better for themselves. And we can't do that when we're constantly complaining about the things we don't have. We want to constantly blame others for the things that are happening to us. When we don't want to get out there and get jobs, we would rather be dependent on the government than dependent on each other. Little things like that. And it's not going to be an easy road. It's going to be there. It's a journey. There's a journey involved because it was a journey that took us to get as far gone as we are right now, and that's just the truth. But I wanna know what you guys think. I want you guys, and do I seem disingenuine with the things that we talk about? Do you honestly believe that at the end of the day, I have no intentions on helping my own community? Do you honestly believe that everything the government is telling us, or even the majority of the things that our government is telling us right now, do you believe that they're true? And if you do believe that way, why are you subscribing to that narrative? Why are you subscribing to the belief that after all the evidence shows just how many lies the government tells us, do you still choose to believe everything that they tell us? That's just crazy. I'm pretty sure you could name people in your own life that if they lied to you so many times, there comes a point where you just stop believing anything that they say. I can't believe anything you say anymore because nothing ever comes out of your mouth but lies. The government, the right got into. I really wanted to believe in Cash Patel, for instance, and and I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm just saying that they promised us this form of transparency that we've never seen. And to this day, we still haven't seen it. There's no transparency. We're fine. And the only time we ever get any kind of extra information is when we prove that what they're saying is false. And then after we say that it's false, then all of a sudden the conversation changes. Pam Bondi, I I wish Matt Gaetz would have been the attorney general. I'm not saying that they wouldn't have influenced him as well, but Pam Bondi is just a certifiable liar. Oh, there's not, come on. Look, there's no evidence to support that anybody, did anything wrong, not within those Epstein files? Really? Then why is Ghislaine Maxwell even in jail? If you can't prove that anybody did anything wrong, why is she even in jail? But despite that, outside of that, you fast forward to today, and now all of a sudden, people are voting to have the Epstein files released, and now they're about to be released, and you're scared. And now all of a sudden, oh, we have new information. No, you don't. Epstein's been dead since what, 2016, 2017? And now all of a sudden that we vote the same at the same time that we vote to have the Epstein files released, you all of a sudden have more information, new information that you just all of a sudden want to investigate that could prove that certain people are guilty of a particular thing. It's all a lie. They're lying through their necks. The information has always been there. Everything that they could possibly have on the Epstein files other than firsthand information or firsthand testimony from people who were there. The information has always been there already. They're protecting people. They're protecting rich oligarchs. They're protecting celebrities. They're protecting foreign dignitaries. They're protecting people in power so that they don't lose the power that they have. That's all it is. We are too small. We are too insignificant. And the only reason why we are insignificant as a people is because we continuously allow them to divide who we are. I am committed to changing my podcast to where yes, we will speak on issues. But when I speak on issues, the intent behind the things we talk about is to bring more people together. Right now, we're at a stage where more people need to wake up and accept the fact that our government is lying to us on a daily basis. That is not controversial. That is not crazy talk. It is the truth. We can prove that both sides lie to us on a daily basis. Every time they support the lie with more lies, it's a lie for that day. They lie. We are insignificant because we continue to listen and believe in those lies. When they tell you you're going to get reparations, when they tell you that voting for them is going to reduce inflation and it doesn't. They can reduce the inflation, but they haven't because it doesn't yet serve their best interest. They care about them, and we as a people need to start caring more about us. It really is that simple. We just have to put our heads in the right place. Take them out of your ass and put them back where they belong. Put them back on your shoulders, and let's start having these conversations and thinking more like a people together, man. I gotta get out of here because I know I don't have enough people that wanna ask questions, that wanna share their opinions. Let me just go through and check everything right now. Um, I'm not gonna stop having these conversations just because I don't yet have the audience that I want, because people do go back and they do listen to these things over time, and I'm happy about that. I'm glad that we are growing. We are at 2,800 subscribers on YouTube. We're at just over 1,000 on X. We're only at like we just started on Rumble, so we're only at like 20 over there. And then over on Facebook, we're actually up to 350 followers, which I did not expect. So the more we have these conversations, the more we're going to, the more we will share, the better we will get at sharing that information. I am committed to getting better at the way that I talk to make sure that I deliver the information in a way that you can understand. I don't care about the government. I don't care about social media, or excuse me, the mainstream media or these political bots and influencers that want you to believe a certain way. We have to come together as a people and be willing to listen to information from every side. And I'll leave you with this. There's a website. It's called Ground News. Let me see. To give you the website. It's ground dot news, and you should check them out. And the one thing that I like about them, and I'll switch over so you can see them right now. The one thing I like about ground news, I'm not an affiliate. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm literally giving you good information. They have the way that their news is set up is that they give you information from different sources. They'll tell you where the source is coming from, and then they'll also tell you who is receiving this information more. So, for instance, Trump's government efficiency department disbands 8 months um, uh, Doge disbands 8 months before the mandate ends, and I'm gonna read up on that because I really wanna know what's going on with that, but they're saying that this is important enough for both sides. You can look at the bottom, and you see that the right 47% of the right is listening to it, and 41% of the left, and then, of course, the moderates and the basically everybody else is in the middle. But you can go to this section called Blind Spot. I have a subscription that limits how much I can see, but it'll literally show you which side of the media is paying more attention. This is what they want you to see. So the left is feeding right here 50%, only 14% of the right is listening to this, but 50% of the left is. A sheriff, a billionaire, a tinge of scandal, California governor's race, packs drama and uncertainty. Well, for whatever reason, the right feels like that's not important information. And that's not even important to me. What's important should be important to all of us is that a site like this is trying to give you both sides of the story. They're showing you that you can look at this information and say, well, why is only the right reading this or paying attention to this? It's because it's what's important to them. But for us to get a clear understanding of what's going on in the world so that we know which way our votes, should be cast in order for them to matter, we need to be able to see both sides of the story. If you're a right-leaning conservative, you should look at a site like Ground News and say, "You know what? I wanna understand why more of people on the left aren't listening to this. I wanna understand why this isn't supposed to be important to my side." Start getting educated on the information that you need to have so that when you hear bullshit like I'm starting to hear in the media or on social media or on YouTube, I hear things and I can automatically tell you that, well, this is bullshit. Laura, before we go, I wanted to show you this too. I on my title thing, I said that Laura Loomer is out of her rabbit ass mind. I'm just gonna take you to her page. I can tell you right now that everything she says, it has some kind of obsession with um with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't even know what's on her account right now. I'm just gonna assume that a lot of it has to do with Marjorie Taylor Greene, pro-Israel, or anything of that nature. And honestly, this morning I might just be wrong, probably because Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned. But if you guys should check out her page. Again, it's not because I agree with her, because I don't. I really don't agree with anything, a lot of things she has to say because she is an extreme MAGA cult member. It does anything, everything Donald Trump says has to be right. She will defend it to the hilt, and I wouldn't be surprised if she is being she's a paid shill to do these things. She doesn't have opinions of her own. A lot of MTG's enemies are talking to me. Her scandals are not over. You're on notice. Okay, but what are those scandals? I can tell you there was something that I replied to. Maybe I should just go to my profile and I'll show you, for example, replies. I talk shit on. I'm not gonna lie. I talk major shit. Uh, this has to do with her pension, which is stupid. Laura Loomer, such a greedy woman. That's not the one. That's regarding her pension again. She said something else. Oh, you know what? Let's just do that one because I responded to her as well. Um, Such a greedy woman. Her love for money over her country is what led to the traitor's downfall, and so many people are eating it up. Um, why not just resign today? Because this is and always has been about enriching yourself. Admit it. And this is so stupid because yeah, she decided to resign 2 days after she knows that she would receive her pension. But here's the truth: who wouldn't do that? If you have to resign or you have to quit your job, but you have to hang in there for just a 2 months more in order to receive a pension, who in their right mind wouldn't do that? You're being forced out of office because you have an opinion that is your own, that you don't agree with the president. He's all of a sudden calling you a traitor, and you basically just committed career suicide for standing up for the people, which I wish she would have stood in there longer and just said, fuck it. But she didn't. She decided, you know what, this is too much for me and my family. I need to go, but you guys forced me out. But I need to hang in there for just 2 more months. What's up, Jennifer? I need to hang in there for just 2 more months so that I can be able to collect a pension, and then I'm gone. Who wouldn't do that? Like, for real. And who in their right mind wouldn't stay with their job for 2 more months so that they can collect a pension? But no, they need to smear Marjorie Taylor Greene's name, and what's crazy about the whole thing is that the only reason why they're smearing her name is because she decided to stand against Trump and with the victims of the Epstein files and said, no matter what you think, well, no matter what you believe, no matter what direction you're headed, no matter what your reason is for not wanting the Epstein files to be released, the victims deserve justice. But and not, I would say more importantly, but probably just as important, we need to know who these predators are. They shouldn't be allowed to escape justice just because they have more money than me, because they have more political influence than me, because there's some kind of a foreign dignitary with all of these political protections. It doesn't matter what the case may be. If you are touching on little kids, if you are abusing kids, whatever it is that you're doing that is ruining the lives of kids before they can even become an adult, there's no compromise on that. None whatsoever. I don't care if it tears the economy up, ruins the government. I don't care. If you're doing those things, you do not deserve to be in a position of power. I trust that we have enough people in this country where we can replace you and still do a good job with this country, period. Anyways, I've spoke my piece. I need to get out of here. This is my Sunday bit. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. If you just got here, like like my girl Jen, you will go back at some point and listen to the rest of this because we are beginning to make a lot more sense. We have a lot more clarity of purpose when we're here on this podcast, especially on Sundays. And I want you guys to be a part of it. If you guys haven't done so already, man, please feel free to like and follow the channel, whether you're watching it on Facebook, X, YouTube, Rumble, and feel free to visit me at MikeRockUncensored.com if you guys want to get firsthand information on what's going on with me and my family and my personal life. Just don't send no assassins my way, okay? Like I said, it's not that important. We just want something better, and the only people that are looking at what I say as something negative are the people who want people like me silenced. You guys take care, man. I'll see you guys again next Sunday or in my next video. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.